Okay, welcome back. Now in this video, let's look at the classification related to machine learning. That is, how many types of machine learning concepts exist. Basically, in machine learning, we can classify them into three types. We can call one of them supervised. The second in machine learning is unsupervised learning. The third is reinforcement. That's it from me. I will explain in detail. What does supervised mean? It means that someone is properly sitting and giving data to the machine. That is, the machine is given inputs and outputs, and the whole process is completely explained. This is called supervision. What does unsupervised mean? It means in detail that inputs and outputs are not given explicitly. If only information is given and the machine automatically understands it, that is called unsupervised learning. Next, what is reinforcement? That is, when the information is even more complex, it is called reward and punishment based learning. Here, we only provide information, and if it achieves the required proper output, we give it rewards. Most robots work like this. They are trained only through reinforcement learning. For example, if you look at the Boston Dynamics robot, all such robots are trained using reinforcement learning. Now, you understand the basic definition of supervised and unsupervised learning. Even in supervised learning, we have classes. In supervised learning, if one class comes up, we can call it regression. If another class comes up, we might hear it referred to as classification. We will learn all of these in detail. For now, since this is just the definition, it's only at the initial stage. We are just learning the definition right now. What does regression mean? It means there are some input and output multivariables. For example, there are marks and I'm calling marks the input. There is a rank and I'm calling rank the output. So marks and rank are variables, right? If you get 0 marks, there is a maximum chance that your rank will be the highest. Let's say 100. If you get 50 marks, your rank might be 30, for example. Suppose the maximum is 102 and someone gets 100, then what will that person's rank be? Number 1, because they got 100 out of 100. So now, how does this rank change? It depends on the number of students. If there are more students, the rank can go higher than 100 as well. Here, marks range from 0 to 200. This is fixed. So we call this a regression problem. In a regression problem, what happens is there are variables. When one changes, how much does y change? When x increases, y might decrease or increase, but y is modified according to x. This is what we call regression. Now, what is classification? Classification is very simple. Suppose we have some data, and based on that data, we determine whether a person has passed or failed. That is classification. Now, as we saw earlier with marks, let's suppose, imagine I have converted this into pass fail data. Let's consider this as y. Okay, so what does pass or fail mean? Suppose the input I got is 0. The first person failed, the input was 25. The person failed, the input was 35. The person passed, the input was 40. So now, what do you call this here? Classification. There are two classes here. A person either passes or fails. But as we saw earlier, if the output is a variable that depends on x, that is on the input, then under the concept called supervision, we have both regression and classification. In regression, the output variable changes depending on the input variable. There can also be multiple variables in the input. For example, rank may not be given based only on marks. Rank can depend on marks, attendance percentage, and other factors as well. X does not have to be just one variable. It can be x1, x2, and so on. Similarly, y does not have to be just one variable either. It's not just rank. We can also define for a person how much scholarship to give, and that can also be y. So what I'm saying now is in binary, there's one input and one output. Okay, here, sorry, by binary, I mean there are only two types of classes in the output. But instead of just pass or fail, let's say we have three levels like pass, fail, or moderate. Suppose we assign 0, 1, 2, 1 like that. We call that a three-class classification. In this case, what is it? Two-class classification. Two-class means there are only two classes in the output, okay? There are only two possibilities in the output. So what does supervised and unsupervised mean? Basically, no one is supervising. In machine learning, even if no one supervises, the machine learns on its own. We can call that unsupervised learning. For example, clustering problems are unsupervised. Clustering means when you give some data, it automatically groups itself into clusters. For example, let's say we have sales records. There are salespeople, right? How many sales did each salesperson make? Number of sales, okay, and how many kilometers did they travel? This is sales, number of kilometers traveled, and so on. After that, we if we provide things like number of leads generated, and if it can automatically classify the salespersons, if it can automatically tell us how many are best, moderate, or medium performers, then we call that unsupervised learning. Let's learn about this in more detail. It could be the related algorithms or detailed information about them. Let's learn about that, okay. Similarly, in reinforcement learning, there are different types of algorithms like Q learning and others, those as well. We will cover those topics also, okay? So these are the types in machine learning. We still haven't learned what machine learning actually is. In the next video, let's focus on understanding the basics of what machine learning is.